吃着我们参加里啊，学啊啦。another day, na was Maguchilia, and the Kamisha Kugochumba, Stag honor chum, or Sijir.
Brothers and sisters, it's a great honor for me to have this opportunity to be with you today and also speak to you.
Now here, quite a big gathering. Over there, I can't see. But it seems some people also there. So a big gathering. I think naturally, some of you, I think, may come here just for say, out of curiosity. That's no problem. Then it's those people who came here with some expectation. Then don't expect much. I have nothing to offer you. Sometimes people came to see me with some expectation, some kind of miracle blessing or something like that. And some people consider me as a healer. Too much expectation, I think unrealistic expectation, no good. And I want to make clear, we are same human being. I am nothing special. All same human being, whether Easterner or Westerner or Southerner or Northerner, rich or poor, educated or uneducated, this belong this religion or that religion, or believer or non-believer, we are same human being. Emotionally, mentally, physically, same. I think physically, maybe little differences. The shape of nose, you have quite sharp nose there. The color of hair, some differences. These are minor, but basically we are same. And we have same potential. We have the potential to transform one's own mind, one's own mental attitude. If someone today unhappy, always get angry, always get fear, or get some, jealousy, things like that, which eventually bring more unhappy. Then, because of the same potential, we can change that. Other hand, someone today happy, looks no worry, but because of some conditions, some causes, that also can turn a negative way. So we have basically the same potential. It's very important to know everyone can transform, can transform into better person, happier person. I think that's important, have the feeling or have the sort of recognition. As I notice, some people really showing some kind of, excitement about the new millennium with some kind of, expectation that the new millennium itself brings some new happy days. I think that's wrong. I think wrong. Unless some new millennium inside here, then the external new millennium itself will not change much. Same days and nights, and same sun and moon, like that. The important thing is transformation or new sort of, new way of thinking, new mental attitude. I think that, we we should make effort, you see, to develop some kind of new, I think, the inner world. Because through, say, I think, through centuries, through generations, we humanity put every effort to develop the society, mainly the material progress, material facilities, on the basis of science and technology. I think today, the world at large, and particularly in the Western nations, you really achieve, I think, very high living standard, or the material facility really,
Reached a high stage.
High stage. But then, you see, there are still a lot of problems, especially you see, in the field of crimes and violence. In England and also in America, even some young people, without much reason, just using gun. And also the, I think, international sort of relations field. I often feel the nations which are very much cherishing about freedom, democracy, liberty, even these nations, like America or in Western European countries, in the field of international relations, they're still relying more on force. I think these are, I feel, old concepts. In previous time, in the past, one's own national interest is more or less independent, or I think independent. So even, I think, the village to village, more or less self-supporting or self-sufficiency. In such circumstances, the concept of war, concept of violence, military sort of activities is very relevant. Victory, our side, defeat the enemy or the other side. But today, that situation completely changed. Not only village to village, nation to nation, but even continent to continent, heavily interdependent, particularly in the field of economy. Under that circumstances, destruction of your neighbor is actually destruction of yourself. So, the concept of this old thinking, I think that now, I think we can say, I think it is outdated sort of habit or policy. And then also the lifestyle. They always think or expectation every year national growth. If that growth stands still, then people feel, oh, something wrong. Sooner or later, we will reach. Now, no longer, no possibility to further goes. Here, now the gap, rich and poor. Global level, northerners, you have surplus. Southerners, same human being. human being of same planet. Look, their basic necessity also not adequate, and starvations happen. Although I think they causes their own mistake. Some of these nations, I think, put their wealth in military equipment, not putting effort for agriculture or these things. So result, you see these starvations or these things happen. And then within the nation, look, like America, very rich country, but within that country, huge gap between rich people and poor people. Some my American, friend recently told me, in previous few years ago, the number of billionaire around 15 or something. Now today, that much increased. Number of billionaire much increased. But poor people still remain poor, and in some cases, even poorer. So, this gap, on global level or within the nation, this gap is not only morally wrong, but practically also source of problem. So we have to tackle these problems. So one way is we have to raise the living standard of those poorer countries, and also within the countries. Then the natural resources, sooner or later, we will face the limits of the natural resources. So the lifestyle, also I think questionable. I think worthwhile to think. And then also the pollution. And that also I think serious of the problems. They just, a few conferences here and there, also I think very good. But the real effective implementation is necessary. Now again, this, I think they related with the lifestyle. In America and also here in London, we can see the lot of motor cars, but many of these cars, just one person. So each person possesses one car. Some cases, I think one family, 2 or 3 cars. Now think, Chinese population, 1.2 billion. India's population, around 900 millions. Together, about 2 billion. About 2 billion cars used in that continent. I think difficult, very difficult. So these are the problems. So therefore, sometimes I feel, not necessarily I think just me alone. I feel there are millions of people who have some kind of critical view about present sort of existing, but their voice usually not come out clearly. So perhaps I'm speaking on behalf of these sort of millions of people who remain silent, or their voice very limited. So I feel so I think I should put we feel. We feel, the reality and our sort of, perception or attitude seems, some gap. So the reality much changed, but our mental state still remains some old fashions. So that sometimes creates more trouble. And then another thing, some of the problem which we are facing, even like Kosovo problem or Northern Ireland, and also similar is a problem in the, some other area, and Indonesia. And these is a problem. Of course, I'm not expert on each problem, but roughly speaking, or from the distance, as far as I sort of get the information, these problems, I feel, not develop over one night, but through decades, some cases through generations. So these, I feel, at the initial stage, where there is more chance to put some effort or to change the situation, to cool down the situation. But then at that time, people not much pay attention, just ignore, or feel may not be okay, may not be, maybe okay, may not be so serious, or people themselves have to look, have to take care. That kind of, I think, attitude. So then when things become, the causes and conditions all fully ripen, then from the Buddhist viewpoint, according
to Buddhist understanding, when causes and conditions have really moved for a long period of time and reached such a point, then you reach a point where you can't reverse the process.
I feel that many of the problems, I think that's the, I mean, it happened like that. At the initial stage, there's more chance to reduce the problem or to eliminate the problem or to prevent the future sort of crisis, but we neglected. I think it's a Tibetan issue. Also, I feel like that. In 20s, 30s, 40s, during those years, I feel Tibetans themselves very much neglected about the future of Tibet. So it happened like that. So then, when real crisis then fully exploded, then too late. The human emotion, when reached out of control, then very, very difficult to handle. And the using force is almost, I think,
Of course, it's a last resort.
One of the, I think, aspect of violence is unpredictable. Once you committed violence, although at the initial stage, or although at the beginning, your own intention, your intention is use limited violence. But once you committed violence, is unpredictable. It always creates unexpected implications. And violence, counter-violence, it seems the Kosovo issue, I think exactly is happening like that. So the using violence is, I think, basically, I mean, generally speaking, wrong method, particularly in this modern period or modern era. So therefore, now you see, judging these sort of development or these sort of event, current event, there are some, I think, the indication that our mental attitude, we are something lacking. in any case, if we develop some kind of right kind of attitude, I feel that we can reduce some of these problems. Some problem may eliminate. As I think some of these problems are essentially man-made problem, our own creation. So if humanity have more sort of, I think, appropriate or right kind of method with long-sighted and holistic view, then I think, and accordingly make effort, certainly I think situation can change. So on the basis of our experience, which we learned from this century, then think more, make more effort. Perhaps, I think the next century will be more happier, more peaceful, more friendly. This is my sort of firm belief. Today's, I think, humanity's mental attitude, at least comparatively, I think compare the early part of this century. I think today's, I think, generally speaking, I think the humanities, I think the mental attitude, I think a positive change already there. There are signs of some, I think, the wider perspectives now growing. Humanity, so see, we can say, I think, humanity becoming more mature. So still, if we make, I think, the effort tirelessly, mainly through education, I think then next millennium could be, I think, more peaceful. So therefore, first, I think we have to make some kind of good preparation about new millennium. Then if we fully prepare, then I think worthwhile to have some kind of excitement about the new millennium. But without some change here, just you should expect millennium, the new year itself brings some kind of big change. I think that's unrealistic. The good brain balanced with warm heart, sense of responsibility, sense of caring, sense of discipline go together, then it can be more constructive. So I think in the modern society or the modern education system, I hope you see, pay more attention about the development of warm heart. I think that's necessary. So here, in the various education institutions, right from the kindergarten up to university, I think it is important to introduce the whole life, individual or the society or the family, the moral ethics are very important. Without that, you can't be a happy person, you can't have happy family. Through that way, you can't have the happy society. Then also, it is, I think, very essential or useful to introduce in the minds of children whenever they find some conflict. The best way, realistic way to solve the conflict is dialogue, not violence. Violence means one-side victory, one-side defeat. That's not realistic now today. As I mentioned earlier, if there is sort of clear-cut interest, my interest and others' interest, then they defeat other side, victory one side. But now today, interest so much mixed, so it is impossible. So therefore, the only thing is 50-50. If possible, one's own side 60%, the other side 40%. Otherwise, there is no possibility to one-side victory. So under that circumstances, dialogue, share 50-50. In order to solve the problem, you have to keep interest of others. And then, take care about their interest. With that, try to find a solution. Because, there is some form of conflict, disagreement among the human society, always there. Even within oneself, we can find, always, I think, the morning, one idea, you fully convinced that idea, but afternoon, another idea. So between these ideas, conflict. Sometimes you find it difficult. I think two conflict mind here, sometimes I think lead suicide also. So the wise way is the two conflict idea, think both sides, then synthesize, right? Synthesize. So the contradictory or differences are itself not bad. Without contradiction, no progress. Even I think body, there is contradictory forces. So come together, more balanced, then progress there. So therefore, similarly, contradictory views, and wisely sort of judge, then overcome, then new ideas will come. So therefore, contradictory itself, not bad. I think basis of further development.